I just released a report finding that AI, automation, and robotics could replace nearly 100 million jobs in America over the next decade, including 40% of registered nurses, 47% of truck drivers, 64% of accountants, 65% of teaching assistants, and 89% of fast food workers, among many other occupations. And as bad as that may seem, I'm afraid it could be an underestimate. In June, the CEO of Ford, Jim Farley, predicted that AI could eliminate, quote, literally half of all white-collar jobs in the U.S., end quote, within the next decade. That's Jim Farley, Ford. Elon Musk said this year that as a result of AI and robotics, quote, probably none of us will have a job. If you want a job, that's kind of like a hobby. You can do a job. But otherwise, AI and robotics will provide any goods and services you want, end of quote. Earlier this year, Bill Gates predicted that humans, quote, won't be needed for most things, end quote, such as manufacturing products, delivering packages, or growing food over the next decade due to AI. Hundreds of billions of dollars into these revolutionary, transformative technologies. Now, why is that? Why are they doing that? Is it because they want to improve the standard of living of the 60% of our people who live paycheck to paycheck, Americans who are struggling to pay for groceries, healthcare, housing, education? Maybe. Maybe they are staying up nights worrying about the working families of America. But I doubt it. I think it's because investing in AI and robotics will increase their already incredible wealth and power exponentially. Among other impacts, the artificial intelligence and robotics being developed by these multi-billionaires will allow corporate America to wipe out tens of millions of decent-paying jobs, cut labor costs, and boost profits. The result? The wealthiest people in the world will get even richer while working families lose their jobs and their income. And unless we act, here is, in my view, I don't claim to have all the answers, but in my view, this is what is likely to happen in the next 10 years. Now, as a member of Congress who vigorously opposed the disastrous trade agreements that decimated communities throughout this country, I, like most Americans, want to see manufacturing rebuilt in the United States of America. But let us be clear. New factories won't mean much for working people if the jobs are done by robots instead of human beings. Elon Musk has said he wants Tesla to build millions of robots. And what will these robots do? Well, obviously, they will replace the men and women working in our factories, warehouses, and in restaurants and in other areas. That means millions of good jobs could disappear. It's not very complicated. And of course, it's not just Musk. Amazon, owned by Jeff Bezos, has already laid off 27,000 workers since 2022. The company now has more than 1 million robots working in its warehouses, and soon these robots will outnumber human workers in Amazon facilities. In 2016, Foxconn, the massive manufacturing contractor for companies like Apple and Google, replaced 60,000 workers in a single huge factory in China with robots. Now, the company is planning fully automated factories. And just a few months ago, Foxconn CEO Young Liu predicted that artificial intelligence will make it unnecessary for large corporations to outsource jobs to low-wage countries. You know why? Because robots will be doing most of the manufacturing work. However, it is not just manufacturing jobs at risk. Most of us want to see the United States develop a strong, clean, and efficient transportation system, including the production of millions of new cars, buses, and trucks. But if Musk and others get their way, those vehicles won't be operated by truck drivers, bus drivers, or taxi drivers. They will be driverless vehicles. Millions of jobs in transportation will be eliminated. This is not science fiction. It's already happening. FedEx is using driverless trucks to haul heavy loads along the I-45 corridor between Dallas and Houston through a company called Aurora. Walmart is using autonomous trucks for short-haul deliveries in Arkansas through a company called Gatik. Kodiak Robotics has partnered with IKEA to conduct driverless deliveries in Texas. Waymo is operating self-driving cabs in Los Angeles, Phoenix, San Francisco, Atlanta, and Austin. We all want to see more startup companies and small businesses, but for workers, that will mean very little if half of all white-collar entry-level jobs are eliminated over the next 5 years. And that is exactly what has been predicted by Dario Amodei, the founder of Anthropic, one of the leading AI companies in the world. A few ideas as to how, in my view, the advances in technology can benefit ordinary Americans and not just multi-billionaires. First, we must move to a 32-hour work week with no loss in pay. Think about it. Today, American workers are 400% more productive than they were in the 1940s when the 40-hour work week was first established. Artificial intelligence and robotics will greatly increase that productivity. Workers must benefit from that increased output through a shorter work week. A 32-hour work week with no loss in pay would be a major step forward in improving the quality of life for millions of Americans. Second, we must require large corporations to allow workers to elect at least 45% of the members of their boards of directors, similar to what already takes place in Germany. Workers need a seat at the table to best determine how AI is used in their companies. If Tesla workers were on their corporate board, I doubt very much that they would be rewarding Elon Musk with a $1 trillion pay package. Third, we must greatly increase profit sharing at our nation's largest corporations. In my view, workers should receive at least 20% of the stock in companies they work for. Corporate profits should not just be going to enrich wealthy stockholders and the billionaires who own them. Fourth, we need to substantially expand the concept of employee ownership in America. When workers own their own businesses and are more involved in the decision-making processes, they will make choices that benefit everyone in the company, not just the people on top. Fifth, instead of providing billions of dollars in tax breaks to companies that are throwing workers out on the street and replacing them with new technologies, we should enact a robot tax on large corporations and use that revenue to improve the lives of workers who have been harmed in this transition. Bottom line, AI and robotics will bring a profound transformation to our country. Nobody denies that. In my view, we must fight to make sure that these changes benefit all of us and not just a handful of billionaires.
Welcome to the Cryptoteacher. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. And you know I come back with that video just to make you think. And make sure you join the Patrons. If you're not a part of the Patrons, make sure you're hitting the Cash App. Also, go like and follow the TikTok. More videos to come. And we have Bernie Sanders on the power of AI and robotics. And when I tell you that Bernie Sanders did the Hegelian dialectic to a perfection, because without a shadow of a doubt, he's giving you the truth. But guess what? He's known the truth about 10 to 20 years ago. Now that these robots, algorithms, and drones are here, now he's trying to send out a warning. People, don't fall for it. But he definitely is giving us the truth right now. We have manufacturing won't mean nothing if it's done by the machines. How many times a crypto teacher has told you this? But now you get to hear it from the horse's mouth. And we know these politicians are nothing but paid puppets. And he says this is not science fiction. This technology is already here. And you know I wrote about it a long time ago. Make sure you go get that NWO book. And the new one is going to blow your mind. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And then he says the way we can get prepared for this is a 32-hour work week with no loss of pay. And we know that gets followed up with universal basic income. And then if you have the NWO book, you already know this. Robot tax to the corporations. And remember, guys, technology can be used for good or evil. When it comes to real-time payments, you can actually send money to someone across the globe that's in trouble. If I have a real dangerous situation, I can definitely send in a robot. But we know when it comes to this technology, it's in evil hands. So it's going to be used for the evil agenda. And we already know what that is. They want your life to be a real-life video game inside the metaverse, the virtual world. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And I've told you on several occasions that these corporations front ran all these tariffs at the port. And now again, we're hearing it from the horse's mouth. These containers have been sitting in the warehouse, and once they start to get unloaded, then we're going to start getting this inflation. But the key is we have over 1 million less containers this year. And guys, the year is not even over yet. 2026 to 2028, we're going to see mass unemployment. But we know they cause a problem, wait for the reaction, and run in with a solution. And we know that solution is universal basic income, that programmable money. Being able to tell you what, where, and when and how to buy, and you have 3 to 6 months to spend it or poof, it's gone. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And we have Jamie Dimon says that we're in a bull market. And he's right when it comes to certain sectors. We know it's only a few sectors. When we look at small caps, we know that is definitely not the truth. But we know when it comes to this AI narrative, it is definitely the truth. But then he talks about a recession. Yes, a recession can come in 2026. Guys, we've been in a recession since October 2023. We clearly see the consumer is hurting. Small and medium-sized businesses closing left and right. And we know these layoffs just keep coming. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And when it comes to all this debt, we know Trump wants to devalue this dollar so he can devalue this debt, tokenize it, and then turn it into equity and hand out to the people. Universal basic income. But the fact is the dollar is definitely going to take a beating, and we can clearly see that in the gold price. The central banks are buying up gold, and gold will lose that traction as soon as they start circulating these stable coins. And remember, the crypto teacher tells you. And then we have the Fed. Most officials want to see easing, and some are cautious. But guys, we know they can't make a move. I don't see them making a move without any data. Even though we know they have all the data, but when it comes to the government data, I don't see them making a move. But remember, guys, they want these rates higher for longer, so therefore they can destroy this legacy market so Trump can build this fourth industrial revolution where the robots, algorithms, and drones take the economy over, pay each other with crypto, and the sheep go inside the metaverse. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. Because he knows when it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
Massive pulling forward from these companies, bringing their items in because of what was going on with the global trade war. Well, those items are sitting in the warehousing, and the inflation in those products are sitting there. That's why we're not seeing that trickle-down effect, right? Because the holiday items haven't moved in. But more importantly, no one's ordering. And so what happened is, and what we're seeing in this index, is that the containers, they're sitting, gathering dust in the warehousing, and no new product is coming in because retailers and manufacturers are holding back because we're not buying anything. Our ocean freight bookings. And so we've got some great data here from Vision. And so this is all about the stuff that's coming in for you tomorrow. And so we went all the way back year over year. And we are now at a point right now, 1 million less containers for this year compared to last year. And so when you're in an industry that you get paid for moving a parcel, a million containers, that's a lot of parcels that will not be here.
Interesting. Buckle your seatbelts for this holiday season.
Look, we're in a bull market. It has been clear. Asset prices are high. Credit spreads are low. Consumer's still okay. The consumer has jobs. Remember, the jobs are what usually starts to force people to cut back and change things. And consumers spend less and companies cut back. So far, so good. There are a lot of issues out there that the economy's got to deal with, from all the geopolitical stuff. Maybe they'll start out well. What's going to happen to inflation? I'm a little more nervous about inflation not coming down like people expect. That might be a surprise. On the other hand, there's a lot of spending. There's a lot of government spending, which is inflationary too, by the way. And so I don't know. I hope for the best, plan for the worst.
And you're not worried about a recession in 2026 for the US. You made that clear.
I think it could happen in 2026. I'm not worried about it as a different statement. We'll deal with it. We'll serve our clients. We'll navigate through it. A lot of us have been through them before. You don't wish it because certain people get hurt, but it could happen in 2026.
I think it's a warning sign for the world and for us for economies in general. I mean, look, it's no secret that the world in general is awash in government debt, huge levels of government debt. Japan around 200% of GDP, the United States closing in on 100% of GDP, and enormous deficits and no political will to address those. And so should we be shocked to hear that politicians are looking for the easy way out to essentially monetize the debt, inflate our way out? And so I think that's the kind of thing. Just look at the fundamentals out there between the high debts, the low growth, and the populist politics that are taking over every major developed market. You've got to worry about the essential integrity of currencies and the central banks that stand behind them. That's a good story for explaining why gold is going up. Whether that's a good reason to own gold at $4,000, I don't know. But to the question you asked, it is absolutely a warning sign to pay attention to.
Thanks very much. After cutting interest rates by a quarter point for the first time in months, most Fed officials agreed it was appropriate to ease further beyond that cut that they gave. Some were a little bit more cautious, and we'll talk about that in a second with a big debate there. And those who were cautious citing financial conditions, which were pretty robust, and upside inflation risk remaining elevated. The Fed cut amid what the minutes called a shifting balance of risks at the time. Downside risk to employment had increased. Inflation risk had either diminished somewhat or had not increased. A few argued they could be either unchanged on rates or they could cut. They could go either way, essentially. They were concerned about the stalled inflation progress and inflation expectations. There was a range of views and apparently an interesting debate on just how restrictive the Federal Reserve was at the time, or is even now, and that's reflected, I think, in markets.
Going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go, but clearly we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. With triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset. And also, I do believe the role of crypto is, it's digitizing gold.
I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of the huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we could have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Chinese bank ICBC has been hit by a ransomware attack, and the U.S. Treasury market, as a result of that, has been disrupted. This, according to the Financial Times. We're going to get more right now with Bloomberg's Shonali Bassick. Shonali, what do we know?
Listen, we have the Financial Times now reporting that ICBC, one of China's largest banks here, was hit with a ransomware attack. And remember, they're a very significant intermediary in the Treasury market. The SIFMA has told its members that this has been part of the reason here that the system is kind of clogged up, if you will, during that auction that we saw a little bit before. The attack had prevented ICBC, according to the Financial Times, from settling Treasury trades on behalf of other market participants. A large executive at a major bank also telling the paper that such a large party on the fixed income clearing corp creates major concerns, potentially impacting the liquidity of Treasury markets.
Now, it was not just a poor auction. It was absolutely lousy, and when the dealers have to step in to save a treasury auction, that's a rare occurrence. And
Crypto Teacher and the New World Order book, plus the 3 Kids books, is time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get home stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing, they were still getting that free money. What are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. You know I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York from COVID 33. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.